just picked up this Pivot Shuttle AM from the demo guys here in Truckee, California. I'm going to try it for the day, and I'm really interested to see if the Pivot, which is supposed to be a really nice bike, is worth it, and how much different it is than the other bikes that I have, which I've been riding for all the summer, and includes a Decoy, YT Decoy, and a Canyon Spectral on. This one has a different motor, obviously totally different geometry and pivot setup, or the way the shock is mounted to the bike and where the rear end pivot. So we will see. This bike's pretty well used, but that's a good way to test it compared to my other bikes that are also pretty well used. So I'm headed up to the Sawtooth trailhead where I normally ride, so I can compare apples to apples with my other bikes. First two things I'm noticing, one is the motor is probably torquey right at the bottom, so it gets you moving just as you start to push on the pedal a little bit more quickly than the Shimano EP8 or EP801. Whew. And the other is that the bike and motor are very solid. I'm not hearing any rattling, which is nice. Everything I've noticed about this bike so far that's been different than the motor, this CX is incredible. It's got so much overrun and so much power. And the torque right off the bottom is much different than the Shimano. One thing I noticed about this, the torque comes on really quick. If I just push on this bike a little bit on the front, whew, get this. You have to hold on. Wow. And it's got the overrun, so it just keeps going. I think the geometry and the motor on this bike really help with the cornering, because I'm really loving the cornering of this bike. And some of it may have to do with the motor, and I've mentioned the motor before, but hey Droney, the motor comes on quick and it stays on longer, which really helps with speed, because you stop pedaling and the bike keeps going. You start pedaling and it goes right away, which really keeps your momentum going. This bike is a cornering dream machine. I've never been able to lean the bike over as easily as I have been on this bike. I'm going to try to capture it on video, but the feeling is probably going to be hard to capture. Those are the kind of rocks that make a bike feel less solid when things are rattling, and this bike has no rattles to speak of. I can notice a little bit on the motor, not on this stuff, because you're hearing the rocks more than you're hearing any kind of rattle, and that's not the case with every bike I have. Well, that was an incredible ride. I've never tried a Pivot before, but as you can see from that ride, I was quite impressed. I would say the biggest thing that stood out to me was how well it cornered. Now, it may just be the geometry, but it's hard to discount how they've set this whole bike up with the suspension, with the kind of pivot structure they've got back here, with the CX motor from Bosch. It all seems to be a really solid package. Speaking of solid, it is also very quiet in terms of lack of rattling. The motor's not quiet. You can definitely hear that moving along the trail no matter what. I used it in the all-on boost mode for the entire ride, and which is typically how I ride a full power e-bike. But for a full power e-bike of any bike I've ridden, I felt most comfortable. I feel the most comfortable on this, and that's saying a lot since I've only put a little over an hour on this bike. So 2 thumbs up for Pivot for making a great bike, and for Bosch for making a great motor. I'm impressed with the whole package. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and have a great day.